There's something powerful about setting a goal that's just beyond your current reach. Not impossible, just out there far enough to make you grow, but close enough to make you believe. The purpose of a goal isn't simply to achieve it. The real purpose is to become the kind of person capable of achieving it. See, most people set goals that keep them comfortable. They say, I'll do a little better than last year. That's not a goal. That's maintenance. Growth never comes from comfort. It comes from challenge. A goal that stretches you makes you think differently, act differently, and become someone new in the process. If your goals don't scare you a little, they're probably not big enough. If they don't make you question your habits, your mindset, and your priorities, then they're not stretching you. When you stretch a rubber band, it never goes back to its original shape. The same is true for you. Once you've stretched yourself towards something greater, even if you don't hit the target, you'll never be the same person again. So, set goals that push you beyond your comfort zone. Learn new skills, meet new people, develop new disciplines. You don't grow when you get what you want. You grow when you pursue what you're capable of becoming. A goal is the seed of transformation. You plant it, nurture it, and it pulls you upward like the sun pulls a tree from the soil. Don't ask, can I do it? Ask, who must I become to do it? The day you start setting goals that stretch you is the day you stop living below your potential and start becoming who you were meant to be. Because the best version of you is waiting just beyond the limits of your comfort. Most people misunderstand the true purpose of setting goals. They think the goal is simply something to achieve, a box to check, a trophy to collect, or a milestone to post about, but goals are far more than that. A goal is not just about what you get, it's about what you become. The achievement is temporary. The transformation is permanent. When you set a goal, especially one that stretches you, something inside begins to shift. Suddenly, you start thinking differently. You begin to ask new questions. You start looking at your time, your habits, your choices with a sharper eye. That's because the process of pursuing a worthy goal forces you to grow beyond who you were when you started. Let me give you an example. Imagine you set a goal to earn twice as much income this year as you did last year. You can't do that with the same habits, the same skills, and the same thinking that got you last year's results. You'll have to learn something new, develop new disciplines, maybe even change your environment. You'll have to become a different kind of person. That's transformation. You see, success is not something you chase. It's something you attract by becoming the person who deserves it. The goal is simply the magnet pulling you toward growth. The real value isn't the reward you get when you reach it. It's the wisdom, strength, and maturity you develop along the way. Think about a seed planted in the soil. The goal of that seed is to become a tree. But before it ever reaches upward, it must first break open, push through dirt, and stretch toward the light. The struggle, the pushing, the stretching, the reaching, that's what makes it grow. Your goals work the same way. The journey changes you. That's why you should never be afraid to set big goals, even if they seem far away. Because the minute you commit to something beyond your current ability, you activate the forces of growth inside you. You begin to see possibilities you couldn't see before. You start attracting new people, new ideas, and new opportunities into your life. That's the magic of transformation. Most people make the mistake of only setting goals that are easy to achieve, safe goals. They want guarantees. But life doesn't reward what's easy. It rewards what's earned. If you set a goal so simple that you don't have to grow to reach it, then all you'll get is a small result and no personal change. But if you set a goal that demands a higher version of yourself, then whether you reach it or not, you'll walk away a greater person. Ask yourself this: who will I become on the way to my goal? That question is far more important than what will I get when I achieve it. Because once you become someone stronger, wiser, and more capable, you can always set another goal, climb another mountain, achieve something greater. But if you focus only on what you'll get, you'll miss the deeper reward, the transformation of your character. Every time you pursue a goal that stretches you, you reshape your identity. You begin to see yourself as capable, disciplined, and powerful. That's how confidence is built. Not from reaching the goal, but from realizing you can keep growing toward it. Let's be honest, most goals won't go exactly as planned. Life throws obstacles, delays, and surprises at you, but that's part of the process. Each challenge is a lesson. Each setback is a test of endurance. Each victory, no matter how small, reinforces your belief that you can become better. In the end, the goal is just the vehicle. The real destination is your growth. So the next time you set a goal, don't just ask, what do I want to achieve? Ask, what kind of person will I have to become to achieve it? Because if you focus on becoming that person, disciplined, focused, confident, capable, you'll not only reach the goal, you'll outgrow it. The goal gets you started, but the person you become keeps you going. That's the essence of true success, to live in such a way that every goal, every pursuit, every dream stretches you into a better version of yourself. Because at the end of the day, the greatest reward is not what you get from your goals. It's who you become by reaching for them. One of the most dangerous habits a person can develop is the habit of explaining away their potential. I don't have the time. I'm not ready yet. I'll start when things calm down. These are not reasons. They're excuses dressed in polite words. And excuses are the silent killers of greatness. The truth is, you can either have excuses or you can have growth, but you can't have both. Excuses keep you comfortable, challenges make you capable. Excuses keep you where you are, challenges pull you where you could be. When you set goals that truly challenge your limits, something powerful happens inside you. You begin to feel that familiar mix of excitement and fear, and that's good. That feeling means you've stepped beyond the line of comfort and entered the territory of potential. You've crossed from the known into the possible. See, there are two types of goals. The first kind is the maintenance goal. It doesn't require change, it just keeps you busy. You can reach it with the same habits, the same mindset, the same level of effort you've always had. You end the year in the same place you started, maybe with a few more boxes checked off, but not much growth inside. The second kind is the stretch goal. It's the goal that makes you swallow hard when you say it out loud. It's the one that forces you to think, to plan, to learn, to change. It's the kind of goal that says, if I'm going to do this, I can't keep being who I've been. That's the kind of goal that challenges your limits, not your excuses. When you set a stretch goal, your excuses start to rise like waves. They'll try to talk you out of it. You're too tired. You've tried before. What if it doesn't work? But here's the secret. Those excuses aren't signs that you can't do it. They're signs that you're about to grow. Growth always begins where excuses end. If you want to know how much potential you have, look at how big your excuses are. The bigger the excuse, the smaller the action. The smaller the excuse, the greater the progress. People who succeed aren't necessarily smarter. They've just learned to challenge their excuses instead of obeying them. So when you set your goals, make sure they stretch you to the edge of your ability. Don't make them easy. Make them meaningful. Don't make them safe. Make them significant, because easy goals feed your comfort. Meaningful goals feed your courage. Ask yourself, does this goal make me feel slightly uncomfortable? If the answer is yes, you're probably on the right track. Discomfort is the birthplace of strength. Every time you step beyond what feels easy, you train your mind to handle more, endure more, and achieve more. Here's the test of a good goal. When you think about it, does it make you question your habits? Does it demand that you manage your time better, learn a new skill, or surround yourself with higher thinking people? If it does, it's a growth-based goal, and growth-based goals are the ones that shape destiny. Remember, limits are rarely real. They're usually imagined, built out of fear, doubt, and a lack of belief. The moment you challenge a limit, it starts to crumble. The moment you test an excuse, it starts to lose its power. You'll never know how strong you are until being strong is the only option you give yourself. The secret is to shift your mindset from, can I, to, how can I? That small change in language opens the door to creativity, resourcefulness, and resilience. Because the moment you stop questioning your ability and start searching for a way, life begins to open new paths in front of you. Let your goals be the kind that make your old self uncomfortable. Let them be the kind that make you trade lazy mornings for disciplined habits, short-term comfort for long-term vision. Let them demand more of you than you've ever demanded of yourself, because you'll never rise above what you're willing to demand. There's a saying worth remembering: goal that doesn't challenge you can't change you. And that's the truth. If you can accomplish it without sweating, stretching, or sacrificing, then it's not a goal, it's a chore. But if it pulls you forward, tests your limits, and makes you dig deeper than before, that's when you discover what you're really made of. So today, decide to raise the bar. Choose goals that make you fight your excuses instead of feeding them. Don't look for what's convenient. Look for what's transformative. Don't wait for perfect timing. Create it. Because once you learn to set goals that challenge your limits, you'll stop living by excuses and start living by excellence. And that's the moment you'll realize the limits weren't real. They were only waiting for you to outgrow them. There's a quiet trap that catches more dreams than failure ever could. It's called the comfort zone. It's soft, familiar, and safe. Inside it, everything feels fine. There's no pressure, no challenge, no risk. But here's the problem, there's also no growth. Comfort is the great deceiver. It makes you feel secure while slowly stealing your potential. Average lives aren't born from lack of opportunity. They're born from the decision to stay comfortable. The comfort zone whispers, stay here. Don't stretch. Don't risk disappointment. And the tragedy is, many listen. They stop trying, stop learning, stop believing they can be more. They settle for survival instead of striving for significance. Growth and comfort never coexist. The moment you choose comfort, you begin to decline. Everything in life follows this law. You're either growing or shrinking. There is no standing still. A tree doesn't stop growing. It either thrives or withers. You are the same. Once you stop pushing yourself, life starts to push you. Look at anyone who has achieved excellence. An artist, an athlete, a leader. None of them became extraordinary by staying comfortable. They made friends with discomfort. They welcomed the early mornings, the long hours, the failed attempts, because they understood that every bit of pressure was shaping them into someone stronger. See, your comfort zone is a boundary drawn by your fears. It's the line that separates what's easy from what's meaningful. And every time you step across that line, you grow. You become a little more courageous, a little more capable, a little more confident. But stay within it too long, and your dreams begin to fade into someday. The truth is, comfort feels good now, but costs you later. Discomfort costs you now, but rewards you forever. Every breakthrough begins with a stretch, a decision to leave the familiar behind and walk toward the unknown. Think about the first time you tried something new, maybe speaking in public, starting a business, or changing your routine. You probably felt nervous, uncertain, maybe even scared. But once you did it, that fear lost its power. That's how growth works. Every time you step outside your comfort zone, it expands. What used to scare you becomes normal. What was once impossible becomes routine. The difference between average and exceptional is simple. Average people choose comfort. Exceptional people choose growth. Average people say, I'll wait until I feel ready. Exceptional people act even when they don't, because they know that readiness is not a feeling, it's a result of doing. Here's the real danger of comfort. It slowly lowers your standards. You start saying, this is good enough. You stop expecting excellence from yourself. And before long, mediocrity becomes your norm. But the moment you step out and do something that challenges you, that complacency begins to crumble. Discomfort is not the enemy, it's the signal of growth. When your muscles burn at the gym, that's not pain, that's progress. When your mind feels stretched by new ideas, that's not confusion, that's expansion. When your plans don't go perfectly, that's not failure, that's feedback. The most fulfilled people in the world are not the ones who live the easiest lives. They're the ones who live the most intentional lives. They trade comfort for purpose. They trade safety for significance. They choose the challenge because they know the challenge creates the change. You don't have to abandon your comfort zone all at once. Just start by stretching it. Do something small that scares you a little. Speak up when you'd usually stay silent. Learn a skill you've been avoiding. Wake up an hour earlier to work on your dream. Small stretches create big shifts. And here's the beautiful part. Once you experience the pride that comes from stepping out, you'll never want to go back. You'll realize that the real joy in life comes not from ease, but from expansion. There's nothing more satisfying than looking back and saying, I did what I thought I couldn't. Comfort zones create average lives, but courage creates extraordinary ones. The person who refuses to settle, who keeps challenging their limits, who embraces discomfort as a teacher, that's the person who lives fully. So, make this your declaration. I will not live within the borders of comfort. I will live in the land of growth, because every time you choose growth over ease, you step closer to the person you were meant to be. The comfort zone might feel like safety, but the truth is, it's a slow form of surrender. And you were never meant to surrender. You were meant to soar.